Hello, everyone. Welcome to Incredible Podcast, and I'm your host, Mike Carr, or Smiley, or Magnificent Mike, as some of you may call me. And today's topic, we'll be looking at the topic of free will and what constitutes freedom of choice and free will, and how do we have free will. We're going to be looking at the brain and the mind and everything, because I will tell you there is a difference between your brain and your mind. So let's look at those differences right now. Let's get right into it. So first of all, there is a difference between, like I said, the mind and the brain. Like for instance, your brain is nothing more than a machine. That sends signal through the body. It sends signals through the body, and it also stores thoughts as well. So, like for instance, if you touch or put your hand on the hot pot or the hot stove, you will instantly just pull it away. Um, as soon as you get burnt, basically. So, like you're not gonna touch a burning pot or anything like that. So, but if you touch something that's hot or really hot and everything, you'll instantly your instincts are going to be to pull your hand away from that burning pot. So, or that hot pot. So that's instance, and that's the brain sending signals to the body. So your brain is going to do that for you technically. So your brain. So and your mind is basically who you are. So your mind is where we make our choices and where we have our consciousness. That's you, your mind. You're not your brain. You are your mind. Your mind is what defines you and what defines you as a person. Because your mind determines what kind of person you are. That's all determined by the mind. Your mind is what defines you and everything. Defines you as the what kind of person you are. Now, thoughts, on the other hand, thoughts can be caused by internal or external means. Like, for instance, you could walk by a store, or could be walking by a store or through a store, and you notice that a bike is on sale. Your first thought is to go look at that bike and check it out, of course. So that will be an external thought, or by external means. You see the bike, it's for sale. Your first thought is to go and look at that bike and see and wonder how much it is and everything. Want to go check it out, how much it is and blah blah, to see how much you can get it for. That's an external thought. Internal thoughts, on the other hand, can be where you are anticipating a certain event. Like for instance, you could have a job interview tomorrow, and you could be thinking a million thoughts could be going through your mind. You could be thinking a million thoughts, how it's gonna go, like how is this job interview going to go, or what, or are you gonna get the job or not? Basically, you could be thinking, oh man, I really need to get this job. Am I gonna get it? I really need to get it. I really need to pass this interview and get this job. So your brain will store those thoughts, and which could send signals to your heart that might cause it to race out of control, which can cause you to get nervous. So that's how you get nervous and everything else, heart race and everything. You think those things and everything, anticipating a certain event, like a job interview in this case. So you start thinking like how you're gonna be, or you're gonna pass it. And then you start thinking, all kind of thoughts that send signal that stored in the brain then, and then it's gonna send a signal to your heart. It'll cause your heart to start pounding and beating real fast, and then you get nervous. So and also some things that we might see on TV or in real life is stored in the brain as well, as well as in the subconscious. So subconscious, I'm gonna talk more about that later. The subconscious does not know, cannot distinguish between what is real and what's not real. So the subconscious can't tell, doesn't know the difference between real and unreal. So the subconscious, so basically it doesn't. So, but you use your mind to think. Basically, you think in your mind. Your brain stores your thoughts. So, in this case, so we have no free will. If we are just a brain, if we are a brain, then we have no free will, because a brain is a machine. Like I said, the brain is the machine that sends signal through the body. Our bodies are like machines, basically. So nothing more than a machine that does things and everything. We tell what to do. Our brain tells our body what to do. So basically, so it sends out signals through, the throughout the body, the neural, the neural system of the brain sends out signals through the body and everything. It tells our arms when to move and our legs to move and everything else. So that's the brain's job. So the brain is a machine in that sense. It is a machine. So it's nothing more than a machine. If we are our brain, we have no free will. So free will is our mind. Like I said, that's our mind is where we have free will. We are given consciousness. We have consciousness, self-consciousness. We're self-aware. We know what's around us. We have consciousness. That's our mind. Our mind consists of consciousness and subconsciousness and everything else. So, and therefore we have the conscious choice to be able, we can use our free will, our mind, to make choices. So we can choose to think or act on thoughts. The mind is what the Bible calls the heart. The Bible calls the mind the heart of a person, the heart of a man. So that's the mind. So nobody can read your mind. So doctors and surgeons can study our brain. Our brains could be studied. They can study our brains, but everything, but they cannot read our thoughts. So they can't read what's in your mind. They can't read your thoughts. They can't read the thoughts that's in your brain. So the thoughts come from the mind. They're stored in the brain, but they can study the brain, but they will not see the thoughts. Nobody can see your thoughts or read your mind. So, because all that comes from the mind. So I already said thoughts come from the mind. We can't control the thoughts that pass through our minds, but we can choose to think or act on them. So some may say that they have no choice but to make certain decisions that defines who they are today because of their upbringing, environmental causes, or biological causes. Like someone may say they had no choice but to shoplift because they had no way of paying due to them losing, or someone else may say that they are a murderer because they were born that way. However, it is always our choice to do good or bad. While being born with a disability can be a biological trait, being born a murderer is not. If someone is born into a family of thieves, that person still has a choice to become a thief or to become a law-abiding citizen. So we all have free will, freedom of choice, no matter our upbringing or biological trait. Millions of thoughts go through our minds every day. They're not stored in the brain, but we use our mind to think or act on those thoughts. And that's how we have free will. So that's where the free will comes in at. So now let's look at this now. See the left side of the brain here. You heard the left side, right side of the brain. So the left side here, this is pretty much the brain itself, basically. So this is pretty much the brain side of it. So it's detail oriented, looks at parts, logical, subconscious, rational, method science, can comprehend, analytic, objective, uses logic, facts rule here, words and language, present and past, knowing, acknowledges, knows objects named, reality based, forms, strategies, order, pattern, perception, practical plan, safe, cautious. So that's the brain side of it. Now let's get the right brain, the right side of the brain here. Big picture oriented. So it looks at the holes. Instead of looking at parts, it looks at the holes. It's random. So it's the creative side of it. You'll use your right brain to be creative, academic. Just looking at the brain here. Intuitive, holistic, philosophical and spiritualism. So philosophy and spiritualism. So the right side of the brain can get it, can't get the meaning. So synthesizing, subjective, uses feeling versus logic. So this side of the brain uses feeling. So imagination here rules, symbols and images instead of words and languages. So because your brain processes images and symbols as well. That goes into our subconscious. So past and future, believes and appreciates. We use our minds to believe and appreciate. So knows, object function, fantasy based, present possibilities, spatial perception, adventurous, carefree, taking, etc. So yeah, so this is all just the brain though. This whole whether it be the left side of the brain, right side of the brain is the brain. This is not your mind. So all these things are stored in your mind. Creativity, academic. So it's all your mind. It's all stored here in your brain. Or should I say, your brain is not your mind, and you are not your brain. So you are not your brain. So your mind is you. Basically, as I have said, your mind is you. Your mind defines who you are, what kind of person you are. According to the Bible, the mind is the heart of the person. So it determines your actions. You use your mind to carry out your actions or do whatever it is you're going to do. You make a choice with your mind, not your brain. So thoughts are stored inside of your brain and send signal through your body as well. So it sends out signals to your body. So you have freedom of choice, free will. Free will is our mind. So God gave us consciousness. Therefore, when there's consciousness, there's freedom of choice. There's free will. So if something is self-conscious, so if something is real and have consciousness and is alive, is conscious of itself, self-awareness, therefore has freedom of choice, free will. That makes sense. So God made us to be free, moral creatures. So He gave us brains. Yeah, He gave us everything we needed, but He also gave us consciousness. Because without consciousness, we are nothing but robots. So if you think about it, so if we had no minds and had no consciousness, which means we will have no mind, we will be like robots, and we will not have free will. So we'll just be a bunch of brains walking around. We will not be able to like what we want to like, basically, or do what we want to do. So, like, for instance, I know what I like and everything, and you might know what you like. You know what you like and everything. You know what you want to do. You know how you want to act and everything, your behavior, everything. So you are you. So you know what you want to do. So you couldn't have that freedom of choice if you were only a brain, if you had no mind. So if you had no consciousness, basically, you could not have that choice or freedom of choice if you're only a brain. So because the brain is not conscious, it's a machine. Machines are not conscious. So last time I checked, the brain is a machine, once again, and machines are not conscious. So consciousness is conscious, but not a machine. So machines are not alive. Machines are like robots. So in this case, so the brain is a machine that functions in our head, inside of our head, that keeps our body going. So stores thoughts, everything, and we use our brains to think and everything. But thoughts come from the mind. So thoughts are, like I said, we use our brains to think and everything, but our thoughts are stored in our brain, but we use our mind and everything. So thoughts come from the mind. So you could think based on your rationing or your based on your likes and dislikes. You could think your thoughts could be based on your likes and dislikes and everything, and that's stored in your brain. And like I said, so you use your brain to think about those thoughts and everything. So that's thing sent out. So your brain is a machine. Keep that in mind. So you have no free will if you are just a brain. So no free will. You have free will because you have a mind, you have consciousness and subconscious and all that stuff, and awareness and everything else. So that's what gives us free will. That's why we have free will, and that's why it made us the way we are. So if you're looking for scientific proof of free will and freedom of choice and how we have it, this is your proof right here and everything else. So the difference between the mind and the brain, your mind is your freedom of choice, is you. So it's your consciousness. So for that, I will wrap it up right here, and I'll talk more on the subconscious maybe another time, maybe later. So, but until then, God bless and take care.